Hello, music lovers. Welcome to the channel. Thanks so much for dropping by. How you guys doing out there? Are you enjoying these crazy times that we live in? Yeah, they're probably going to get a bit crazier, but hey, in this video, I just wanted to do a quick one about the loss of Tony Lewis from the Outfield. He was the bass player. He was the lead singer, died unexpectedly at the age of 62. And, I always loved the Outfield. Even got a chance to spend some time with them, both Tony Lewis and John Spinks, about 20 years ago. And I'll share some memories of that coming up in just a little bit. Now, for those of you keeping score at home, the Outfield released their debut album, Play Deep, back in 1985. It went top 10 here in the US, eventually went triple platinum, even spawned 4 top 20 hits. And oddly enough, the Outfield were a British band, but they never had any success over in the UK, barely made a dent in the charts over there. And they all went on to release, though, some more strong albums after Play Deep. The second one, Bangin', wasn't all that banging, I gotta be honest, but remember Voices of Babylon or even Diamond Days? Very solid albums. Now, unfortunately, the primary songwriter and lead guitarist for the Outfield, John Spinks, he passed away just a few years ago in 2014 at the age of 60. He passed away from liver cancer. And he had been battling that for a number of years. So, as a result of losing John Spinks, Tony Lewis just kind of went into a funk. He didn't have it in him to really do much with music until his wife, Carol, inspired him, to kind of get back to what he used to love, what he used to love doing, which was writing and performing. And, Tony met Carol about 1984, 85, before the Outfield became really famous. And they've been married for the past 35 years. That's pretty amazing. And so, she not only inspired him to kind of get back into making music again, but when it came time to do his first solo album, Tony wasn't familiar with really writing lyrics a whole lot. And so to his surprise, his wife, Carol, was, great at writing lyrics. And she helped him make this album. An album, by the way, where Tony played all the instruments himself, the guitar, bass, drums, everything. He did it all himself. And so quite an accomplishment. And you have to believe that he had John Spinks like an angel on his shoulder, because John Spinks was a perfectionist when it came to making all those Outfield albums. You go listen to those Outfield albums and they're meticulous, and so he learned a lot from John Spinks over those years in the Outfield. And this is what Tony had to say about John Spinks during the making of his very first solo album. He said, "I always felt like he was guiding me in a way. Every time I do a guitar track, I look at his picture and say, 'What do you think of that one, mate?' Pretty good, isn't it?" I approach recording, singing, and playing guitar, keyboards, and drums with his discipline. So with the help of his wife, Carol, and of course John Spinks looking over his shoulder, Tony Lewis put the finishing touches on his very first solo album, which came out in 2018, called Out of the Darkness. He hit the road, did some shows, and was also looking forward to doing some more new tracks, which were supposed to come out next year, as well as more tour dates. However, sadly, Tony Lewis passed away about a week ago. We still don't know what caused his death, but it was unexpected. And here is the announcement that was made by Tony's publicist. It says, "It is with great sadness and sorrow to announce that Tony Lewis has unexpectedly passed away. He was a beautiful soul who touched so many lives with his love, his spirit, and his music. He loved his fans dearly and enjoyed every opportunity he had when meeting all of you." As I had mentioned earlier, I was a really big fan of the Outfield back in the day. One of the things that I loved about those guys, which you don't hear a lot about, were the harmonies. Tony Lewis had the real high pitched voice and very powerful, and John Spinks more of a baritone in the lower ranges, and together they had just tremendous harmonies. Always loved to hear it. Worked very, very well together. And of course, John Spinks, great at writing hooks, great at writing melodies. He was a really good guitar player too. Not the kind of guitar player that you're ever going to hear make anybody's list, but, kind of like the Beatles, which is a band that he loved. They weren't the best at their craft, but they got it done, and a lot of memorable stuff coming out of the Outfield. Also, on that first album, Play Deep, I remember the drum sound was just killer. Alan Jackman had a tremendously great drum sound on that first album. And, as we got into the 90s, Alan Jackman wound up leaving the band, and, they just were not, I guess, the flavor of the decade with all the new sounds coming in. The Outfield wound up kind of fading away, but they came back into style by the 2000s when we got the retro tours. As I've talked about in other videos, what comes around goes around, and it was only a matter of time before these retro packages started to get put together, and that's when I got to meet the Outfield in the summer of 2001. They were on this retro tour with Berlin, the Motels, Asia, the Fix, and I had the opportunity to interview them and hang out with them on their tour bus. I can tell you right now, these guys were a lot of fun. They had a really big beer cooler, which we dipped into a couple of times. They played me some brand new tunes that they had been working on, and I'll never forget the interview that I had with them, particularly with John Spinks. John Spinks was quite the character. I had heard that well, I'll be honest with you, I had heard that he could be a little bit of a dick, all right? And so I was interviewing John, and he was talking about the song Voices of Babylon, which actually is one of my favorite Outfield songs. It was a hit for the band, you may recall, and he was talking about it, and all of a sudden he started to get kind of emotional, and he's like, how about you give me the tape back? Let's stop this. Give me back the tape. So, I wasn't using tape. I was using mini discs, and I'll show you what I was doing. This is the actual recorder that I was using. I still have it, and these things come with discs. And so I had this inside. This is what I was using to record the interview. And he said, give me the disc. And I said, well, I could erase it. He's like, no, just give me the disc. So I'm like, all right, maybe this guy is a dick. You know what I mean? So I gave him this. And I got another one that I had. I usually carried a few of them with me. And so I popped in the second one, and we kept on going. And we continued talking about Voices of Babylon, and he's talking about it. And once again, he started to get kind of emotional about it. I don't want to say that he was crying, right? It was more like he was kind of upset. I don't really know what the song Voices of Babylon is about exactly. I think I have an idea. I think it has to do with moral decay, I think, and maybe children getting wrapped up in this and how we've kind of let them down. And I think that's kind of the gist of it, but he was really kind of getting upset about it. And so he once again said, give me the disc. He wanted this again. I was like, I felt like telling him, what do I look like? A fucking mini disc factory over here? So I gave it back. So I tried to play nice. I gave it to him. Luckily, I had a third one, but I was like, look, man, this is it. I don't have a whole case of these things, so let's get this going. Fortunately, that was the end of it. Aside from that, these guys love to joke. These guys love to have fun. There were a lot of laughs, and we had a great time overall, but I just found it interesting how I had to give up a couple of my mini discs in order to get this interview. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of that interview. Would have loved to have played some of it, but I don't have it. But that was, one of the more memorable interviews that I've ever done, and it was with the Outfield. Now, someone else associated with the Outfield who's no longer with us is Reg Webb. He played keyboards for them when they performed live. You may recall seeing him in some of their early videos. And Reg was blind, and sadly, he passed away from cancer just a couple of years ago, January 2018. All right, so before I wrap up this video, are you ready for some extra innings trivia? Now let me set the table. Do you recall that very first video, Your Love? You may recall the scene where Tony Lewis is walking onto the video set and he catches the eye of this really adorable chick. And, throughout the course of the video, John Spinks even walks over to her, says a couple of things, and she has a bit of a laugh. Her name is Joanne Willett. Now, before her role in this music video, you may remember her from this scene in Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2. Remember the bus ride to hell? That's right, with Freddy Krueger. Actually, this bus ride to hell kind of looks like 2020, if you ask me. Anyway, here's the trivia question for you. How much did Joanne make appearing in this Outfield video for Your Love? All right, did she do it for free? Was she paid $200 or did she get $500? The answer is B, $200. That's right, from a 2013 interview with Joanne Willett. This is what she had to say about working on the Your Love video. She said the production didn't have much of a budget. The director really wanted me to do it, so he personally paid for my flight and gave me a couple $100 out of his pocket, even offered to let me stay with him in New York City, but I stayed with my brother John, who worked in the Twin Towers at the time. I actually dated the director for a short while after. And speaking of angels in the outfield, do you remember the video for All the Love in the World? Do you remember in that one, there was a real adorable chick. Her name was Julia Bellino. She also appeared the same year, 1986, in this video by Robert Palmer, which you may remember, Addicted to Love. How can you forget this one? She was one of the girls in that video, had the rainbow strap on her guitar. Just in case you're wondering, these girls do have reunions from time to time. They still get together and reminisce about the old times, and they still look like knockouts, don't they? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed my trip through the outfield, and I've got some really fond memories hanging out with these guys, and they've got some great music as well that they've left us. I'll throw them in a playlist for you to check out, linked above and in the description below. Let me know what you guys think about the outfield, all right? Be sure to let me know in the comments, and until next time, stay safe, all right? And I will see you later, all right? Take care.